Welcome back to The Heat. I'm Asiye Namdar, filling in for Anna Naidu. We are talking about a recent surge of immigrants crossing the border from the United States into Canada. And let's continue our discussion with our panel. Let me go back to Manuel Suarez. President building this wall in Mexico along the border, a cornerstone of his campaign, Manuel. And when he was talking at a rally in Phoenix, Arizona this week, he brought that up again. Let's listen to what he said, and I want to get your reaction.
And we are building a wall on the southern border, which is absolutely necessary. Let me be very clear to Democrats in Congress who oppose a border wall and stand in the way of border security. You are putting all of America's safety at risk. You're doing that.
Our safety is at risk because at the moment there is no wall. Your reaction?
Nonsense. This is such an idiotic project. It's shameful. First of all, 1/3 of the border is sealed already by a combination of fences and semi-walls and so on and so forth. All of that has cost tens of billions of dollars. Then there was an attempt to do an electronic fence, high-tech electronic fence. This project was started by President Bush Jr., let's say. Mm-hmm. And it was a complete failure. They did the electronic fence for 28 miles, and it cost $1 billion. 1/3 of the Mexico-U.S. border is a river. What are you going to do with the fence there? Where are you going to put it? In the middle of the river?
And of course, the big question is, who's going to pay for it?
Well, that's a no-brainer. Mexico will not pay for it, period, under no circumstance. This is full of misconceptions. The net degree of migration from Mexico, including Central Americans, and Haitians, by the way, many Haitians are coming through Mexico, and they are creating a problem for us in the U.S. border. The net number of migrants is negative. There are more people going back to Mexico than coming to Mexico, to the U.S. So, number one, that problem is no longer a problem at this juncture. Number two, the wall, no wall would stop migrants.
100%, of course.
100%.
Let me go to Megan. Megan, the other thing that I wanted to say was after making those comments, President Trump went on to say, if we have to close down our government, we're building that wall. A Republican president threatening a Republican Congress with the shutdown over a wall that the president promised would be funded by other means, and right now we have no idea who's going to fund this. Your take.
My take?
Yes.
I have a question for Manuel. Don't you have a wall along your border?
No.
In Mexico?
No.
On the southern border of Mexico?
No. Well, we have...
No wall?
No, there's no wall. There's a river in
Is there a fence? Is there some kind of fence?
No, we have immigration checkpoints. But there's not such a thing as a wall.
If I came to Mexico, Manuel, could I live illegally, get financial aid from the government, go to college for free, and collect multiple benefits under your government?
Of course not, and neither do Mexicans that come here undocumented. They don't get any of that. That's a fiction.
Yes, actually they do. Yes, actually they do. They actually take advantage of ITIN, the ITIN program. But that's another conversation. When you talk about self-deporting, related to the rhetoric that Trump is talking, a wall would also act as a deterrent. And the Democrats actually funded part of that wall. They are part of the Congress that granted the funding for the existing wall. So I don't understand what the pushback from the Democrats are for funding the wall. Wherever this funding comes from, and I advocate for closing the I-10 tax loophole that illegal immigrants take advantage of. And that would provide billions of dollars for the construction of the wall.
Andy, would Canada ever consider about a wall with the United States?
Well, we were discussing that lately. One of my colleagues just said to me, let's build the wall and make Donald Trump pay for it. But I'm not sure that, I'm not sure Canadians are thinking about any walls on the southern border. It's not a real possibility. Let me say this about the American situation. Look, deporting 11 million people is a mission impossible. It's just a fact of life. It's impossible. Unless, of course, you want to, talk about something like Nazi Germany deporting, in that manner. But in a democracy, I think it's just not realistic to talk those numbers. And I think it's time for America to come to grips with this problem. I've written an article about it for my Forbes column, and in it I've said, I think the best solution for America is to move the registry date, which is currently at 1972 forward, closer to today's date. And the registry date is a date by which, if you've come before that date into the United States, you can apply for permanent residence in the United States. That's the essence of it. And I would advocate a date, perhaps 10 years or more, if you've been in the United States for 10 years or more, which is the case with the majority of immigrants, illegal immigrants in the United States, I would say it's time to recognize that, look, 10 years of contributions into the United States in terms of work, gardening, construction work, looking after children, etc. At some point, you have to recognize, look, it's just a time, it's an arbitrary thing. At some stage, you have to draw an arbitrary line.
While much of the conversation has really centered on illegal immigration into the United States, earlier this month, President Trump proposed legislation that would curb legal immigration into the United States. It's based on skills. Basically, the prospective green card holder would be judged on their median salary, advanced degrees, ability to speak English, skills needed by the economy, and whether you're able to afford your own health care. If this had been the rule of the land 20, 30 years ago, I can tell you, many immigrants, including myself, we would not be here today, because many come to this country and they do not know a word of English. But guess what? They work hard, they study hard, they have big dreams, they fulfill those dreams, and now they pay taxes, and many of those immigrants are head of multi-million-dollar corporations contributing to the U.S. economy, Megan.
Isn't this a wonderful country? Where else in the world could they rise to the level that they've risen?
But why curb legal immigration is my question. Why even come up with this proposal?
Well, we have $21 trillion in debt. That's number one. Number two, every country has a right to put curbs on immigration. We accept 1 million immigrants into this country a year, and that is up from 300,000 just a little over a decade ago. And so we have to take in totality what currently we have going on right now, and that is a $21 trillion in debt, at least 11 million illegal immigrants in this country, and we have many that have overstayed their visas illegally. So we need an accounting. We need to know who's in our country, how they're contributing, how they're drawing off of taxpayer funds, if any, and to demand English as a language. I have relatives over in Switzerland, and English is spoken. That's one of 5 languages spoken in
Megan,
Switzerland.
I gotta interrupt you. We're running out of time.
When you look north to Canada, they also have similar requirements.
Okay, if we have time, we'll go to Andy, but Manuel, I want you to chime in here.
First of all, it's rather odd to tie the U.S. debt to migrants. It has no correlation whatsoever. The U.S. debt is growing at the rate it is growing because of the awful low level of savings and compared to investment, and that means that you have to import capital from the rest of the world. Most of it from China, by the way. Second, the number of illegal immigrants, according to serious immigration think tanks like the Migration Policies Institute, indicate that the number has been lowered from 11 to 10. The Pew Research also pointed that out. So all in all, if you do an objective balance, an economic analysis of the contributions and the costs of immigration, I think the balance is very clear in favor of a positive.
We're going to have to leave our discussion there. Very lively discussion, I should add. Megan Barth, Andy Semotiuk, Manuel Suarez-Mier, thank you very much. And that's it for another edition of The Heat. Again, I'm Asiye Namdar, in for Anna Naidu. Thanks for watching.